Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Everybody together. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna
Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisance of Shri Prabhupada. Welcome devotees to today's class. Today we will be discussing from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 1, Verse 13. Maharaj, I was asked to check in with you if we're still doing this class or is it going to be something different that Srimati was telling me about?
Well, we tried to connect with the program in France and glorification of your Guru Maharaj, but there they said they don't have the internet facilities to host the Zoom thing. So
That's fine, Maharaj.
it got canceled. Yeah.
Okay, just wanted to make sure that I'm on the same page with you, Maharaj. And today's class, it's be in the middle of a discussion, and the very nice question that's being asked here is, what is the value of life? And it's coming into the verse 13 that Marge is going to be talking about, that we will get to know the value of life. And we're very happy to have His Holiness Candramauli Swami with us. Vanchakaptubhyascha, Kripasindavevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhya, Vaishnavebhya, Namo Namaha. Marge, it's all yours, Marge.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. In Srimad Bhagavatam 2:113, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Tatvango Nama Rajasir Gyatevyatam Ihayusaham Muhurtat Sarva Utsrijya Tatavam Abhayam Harim. Translation: The saintly king Katvanga, after being informed that the duration of his life would only be a moment more, at once freed himself from all material activities and took shelter of the supreme safety, the personality of Godhead. Purport: A fully responsible man should always be conscious of the prime duty of the present human form of life. The activities to meet the immediate necessities of life are not everything. One should always be alert in his duty for attainment of the best situation in the next life. Human life is meant for preparing ourselves for that prime duty. Maharaj Katvanga is mentioned herein as the saintly king because, even with the responsibility of the state management, he was not all forgetful of the prime duty of life. Such was the case with other Rajarshis, saintly kings like Maharaj Yudhisthira and Maharaj Parikshit. They were all exemplary personalities on account of being alert in discharging their prime duty. Maharaj Katvanga was invited by the demigods and the higher planets to fight demons, and as the king, he fought the battles to the full satisfaction of the demigods. The demigods, being fully satisfied with him, wanted to give him some benediction or material enjoyment. But Maharaj Katvanga, being very much alert to his prime duty, inquired from the demigods about his remaining duration of life. This means that he was not anxious to accumulate some material benediction from the demigods, as he was to prepare himself for the next life. He was informed by the demigods, however, that his life would last only a moment longer. The king at once left the heavenly kingdom, which is always full of material enjoyment of the highest standard, and coming down to this earth, took ultimate shelter of the all-safe personality of Godhead. He was successful in his great attempt to achieve liberation. This attempt, even for a moment by the saintly king, was successful because he was always alert to his prime duty. Maharaj Parikshit was thus encouraged by the great Sukadeva Goswami, even though he had only 7 days left in his life, to execute the prime duty of hearing the glories of the Lord in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam. By the will of the Lord, Maharaj Parikshit instantly met the great sage Sukadeva Goswami, and the great treasure of spiritual success left by him is nicely mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Agyan Timirandasya Gnana Salakaya Chaksu Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasnaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine. Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Pastyatya Desatarine. Vanchakalpa Tirubhischa Kripa Sindhuve Bacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasati Gaur Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So in the 5th verse in this same second canto, first chapter, this question is answered there in the translation. Hearing and chanting and remembering the Lord is the goal, the ultimate goal. Ante Narayana Smriti. This verse is just 8 verses, which we just passed away. Talks about the goal of life is to hear and chant the glories of the Lord and remember him, particularly at the time of death. The time of death is very crucial because it makes our passage to the next spirit, to the next world successful. Next world means spiritual world. So, as Krishna mentions in the Bhagavad Gita, the time of death is dependent on the consciousness of the living entity at that particular time. And the consciousness of the living entity at that particular time is a accumulation of all of the activities we have performed throughout our life. In other words, if we're hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord, even before the time of death or during our life, it will manifest itself at the time of death, and therefore one becomes successful. Human life is to prepare for death because there is nothing in this material world that the soul can enjoy. So the soul is here to get out of this. It's interesting. We're here in the material world so we can get out of the material. Sounds somewhat like a contrary. In other words, we don't belong here. We've come here, fallen from the spiritual world, leaving our loving relationship with Krishna to come and to try to act out a false identity of becoming the supreme enjoyer in this material world. And therefore, there is no purpose to material activities other than to put on a show that is just a farce. That's all it is, because it is not for the benefit of the living entity. But because of the illusion of the material energy, which covers it, the soul covers the soul's knowledge of its real identity and its ultimate goal in life, we play this game of material life just to somehow or other fortify the needs of the body and the extensions of the body, which comes in the form of family, society, country, nation, all of these things, which are all imposed upon us as the dance of the material energy. That's all. So we're here so we can perfect our the knowledge that we need to ultimately achieve the perfection of life. And that is Ante Narayanam Shriti, to remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead at the time of death. The life of King Katvanga is very much interesting and is given some prominence in the Bhagavatam because there was a very powerful king on earth, and the demigods were in trouble fighting in the heavenly planets because in the heavenly planets, many times the demons attack. And the demigods find themselves defending their position and sometimes being overwhelmed by the demons. And so they called on Maharaj Kanvanka, knowing that he had such fighting prowess and great armies. And so he came and he fought, and his fighting was actually the cause of the victory of the demigods. So wanting to give him a benediction, they said, "What would you like, Maharaj?" He could have asked for anything, as the demigods can provide any material benefit. But he didn't, as it says here, he was always alert to his real duty of life, and that is to ultimately go back home, back to Godhead. So he is classified amongst the great kings such as Maharaj Yudhisthira, Maharaj Parikshit, Maharaj Prithu, Maharaj Yayanti. Many of the great kings who were Rajarsis, they followed the principle of ruling as a service to the Supreme Lord with the personal desire to purify themselves and ultimately achieve the perfection of life, going back home, back to Godhead. So it's interesting in this and what is also very fundamental to this is that one can remember Krishna at any moment. In fact, the mind, as soon as it remembers, the speed of the mind is the fastest speed in existence. The speed of light, the speed of sound is slow compared to the speed of light is 186,000 miles per second. The speed of sound is even faster than that. But the speed of the mind is so fast that it can travel millions of miles within less than a second. And so the mind can at any time be connected to the Supreme Lord at the time of death. So, but in order for the mind to be able to do that, one should live a life of devotion to the Supreme Lord. So it's not a matter anymore of trying to force the mind to remember the Lord. It'll be automatic. And that automatic takes one back to the kingdom of God. So then this is Krishna's special mercy upon the living entity, simply by remembering him with devotion, of course, then one can achieve perfection in life. So perfection of life is not some material success, becoming a king of an empire or amassing a large amount of material fortune or becoming famous amongst people in general, or becoming successful in one's occupational activities. None of these things are really the goal of life. The real goal of life is to get out of this place and to go back to where we belong. It's like when you plan, we all go on vacation living in this world. Now it's the summertime, at least in certain areas of the world. The summer in the northern hemisphere, it's the summertime now. So people are going on vacation to various places around. And before they do, they make plans. They find out where they're going to go, what's the expense needed to get there, how to get there, making plans of seeing what place they want to go so they know what kind of activities they'll do when they get there. So, and of course, making all the preparations to go there. So in the same way, we learn about the spiritual world from the Shastras. We learn about how to get there from the spiritual master. And then we follow that process and we keep our focus on where we're going. It's also nice to know where you're going. We always want to know that. In this world, we're always planning something. What am I going to do tomorrow? What am I going to do next week? What am I going to do next year? So this goes on because people want to make plans so they can be successful in directing themselves according to where they want to go. But the soul can only find success when it focuses on its eternal home, which is the spiritual world. We can't live in this material world because we are not the body, and the body is what comes and goes. We can only live in the spiritual world. And that way we don't have to keep changing residence all the time. In this material world, we're always going from one place to another. Sometimes we're in the higher planets, sometimes we're in the lower planets, sometimes we're in the middle planets. There are unlimited, and the word unlimited is the foundation for understanding how vast the universes are. You can go anywhere. Prabhupada said, if you focus your mind, you can be anything you want to be, and you can go anywhere you want to go. There's a process for achieving anything. But all of these temporary, what we say, designations, leave the soul still somewhat unhappy and unfulfilled. Only when we connect with Krishna through the process of devotional service, which is the airship back to the spiritual world, and then when that airship is moving in the direction given by the spiritual master, then ultimately we will achieve the purpose of human life. People think the purpose of human life is to somehow or other be happy through material arrangements, but it's not. Because everyone is trying, everyone is getting some satisfaction, but most of the time they're struggling to get a little satisfaction, And aside from that, they have to leave whatever they succeed in achieving at the time of death, and even sometimes before then. You see, I travel everywhere in the world, not everywhere, but a lot of places in the world. The planes, the airports, the trains, the buses, the roads, they're all full of people traveling. Everyone is traveling, traveling, traveling. Especially in the summertime, the highways, especially in the United States and in major countries like the UK, are full. Cars can't even move sometimes. And people are now so excited in the warmer weather to travel somewhere for what their perceived idea of enjoyment. So everyone is traveling, 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 traveling. But you know, when you actually travel a lot, even in this material world, you find a certain type of happiness and satisfaction when you come back to your own place. You feel natural, you can relax, you can be yourself. When you're traveling, you're more or less putting on a show of who you want to be and who you think you are. And a lot of time, and of course, to travel is very difficult. It says that it says that let's see, how's it go? It says a cloth, a piece of cloth, if you put it in the sun will make it old fast because the power of the sun will wear down the cloth. And so the cloth becomes old when it's left in the sun. It says a horse becomes old when it's not used. Well, horses are meant to run and jump and be very active. When they're not used, they get a little bit old faster. It says a woman becomes old when she is abandoned by her husband. And you'll see that many times when the husband dies, the wife later, soon after that, also follows on quite naturally. And the last one is that a man becomes old by travel. This is Chanakya Pandit. So travel wears down a person's life. We're not meant to travel so much. People used to travel by, what we say, stagecoach and horseback and various types of animal conveyances. Now we're traveling by speedy airplanes and fast cars and bullet trains. And that travel is not really beneficial for the human psyche and for the human constitution. Usually, many times we find people after they travel, they have to rest in order to get back to more or less a normal state of affair. So, but people are traveling everywhere. But we want to stop this travel of going from one planet to another, life after life, situation after situation, and find the happiness of our eternal home in the spiritual world with Krishna. That is the ultimate goal of life. Ante Narayana Smriti, to attain the lotus feet of the Lord in devotion in the spiritual world. We should read about the spiritual world, what it's like in the spiritual world, what Krishna does, what is his relationship with his devotees. All of these are not some fantasies or somebody's imaginations. These are also confirmed by the greatest authorities in the history of spiritual culture. These are great souls. Many of them actually come from the spiritual world just to alert us what it's like there. Such as Srila Prabhupada was an eternal resident of Goloka Vrindavan. He came just to tell us about and to give us an opportunity to also achieve Goloka Vrindavan after this life. So, yeah, so this is the actual real goal of life. And it explains in other places the soul can never be fully satisfied until it actually attains its position again with Krishna in the spiritual world. And Krishna, he is always eager to do from his position to bring the souls back to him by creating various opportunities by the soul can reach his lotus feet through the process of devotional service. Okay, so this is something we can really focus on. This verse here on the life of Maharaj Katbanga is very much, he didn't want to, he could have had anything. The demigods are very powerful and they control the material resources. He could have had he could have had his own planet, could have had his own island. He could have had anything he wanted, but he didn't ask any for them. Same with Maharaj Pariksit. Maharaj Pariksit cursed to die in 7 days, had the power to rescind the curse and stay in his position as king. He took it as an opportunity to go back home, back to Godhead. A devotee's apparent difficulties become sources of success when we keep our mind focused on the goal. As long as we're always trying to become Krishna conscious and engage in devotional service, no matter what happens to you, you'll always be successful in life, because with that goal in mind, all of these other situations that we experience in life will bring us closer to that goal. For instance, we have the great Bhakti Tirtha Swami. Today in France, there is a great meeting to celebrate his disappearance. But one of the things when just prior to his disappearance was he came down with a very vicious cancer called melanoma, and he got to the stage of being incurable. But he saw this as an opportunity to ultimately achieve the goal of life, to go back home, back to Godhead. So what did he do? Of course, he made a little bit of attempt initially to find some cure, but when he was convinced there was nothing, he simply focused his attention on hearing the glories of the Lord from other great souls. He decorated his whole room into the atmosphere of Vrindavan. He put Vrindavan pictures all over, Prabhupada's pictures all over. He created a whole atmosphere of Vrindavan in his room, and spending his last days simply hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord. When one particular incident towards the end of his sojourn in this material world was when he was hearing the Chaitanya Charitamrita spoken by His Holiness Radhanath Swami, and he was absorbed in the pastime. And at one point, he said, "It doesn't get any better than this." And that was during a time when his physical body was giving him so much pain. Still, his consciousness was absorbed in hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord. And because of that, he somewhat transcended his bodily situation. But that is there. We can also transcend our particular bodily situation, whether it's favorable or unfavorable by material standards, by hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord and finding ways to use our time to engage in service of the Lord. Srila Prabhupada has given us a mission, along with this ISKCON society, to encourage and entice and to reach out to the other fallen souls and bring them in to the same atmosphere. So that's a great opportunity to get the mercy of the Lord and to assist the Lord in his endeavor to bring other souls back. So if we simply are trying for material success in this life, we're simply wasting our time. We're wasting our time not only in the activities of material success, but we are simply diverting our attention away from where our real success is. to again become fully God conscious and go back home, back to Godhead. So this movement of the ISKCON society started by Srila Prabhupada is Lord Chaitanya's mercy in this age of Kali Yuga, which is so full of diversions away from the goal of life, where the materialist society is very intelligently fixed on creating more and more material things for people to do, for people to get, for people to go. This life has become so full of so many things that the media is bombarding us, the billboards on the highways, everything around you is simply trying to entice the living entity to get more and more absorbed in material life, because that's all they know. And so, but a devotee sees it's just a waste of time. It's just a waste of energy, and it's a waste of human life. So the real benediction in life is to focus our consciousness on the Lord in devotional service. If we're remembering Krishna at any time, we're in the best possible consciousness. Simply remembering Krishna gives such satisfaction to the mind and ultimately awakens the soul's attention towards the Supreme Lord, that a devotee thinks, I may be poor, I may not have nothing, I may not be so qualified materially, but I'm remembering Krishna. Therefore, there's nothing else I need. A devotee simply becomes happy by remembering Krishna. Their material situation fades into the background and doesn't become the focus of the devotee's concern anymore. It's just there. We deal with it, but the devotee is always happy to remember Krishna. And Krishna is always eager to give his mercy to the devotee who takes shelter of him. And that mercy means he brings the devotee closer and closer to him in devotional service. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Marge, for this class and bringing us back to the foundation and the essence of our Krishna consciousness of trying every means to get out of this material world, anything and everything, whatever it takes. Thank you, Marge. Would like to ask devotees if you could please turn on your videos, if possible, wherever you're at. And if you have any questions, any clarification, please do raise your hand. Krishna Kaviraj Prabhu, it's all yours.
Thank you. Raj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to all the devotees present. Guru Maharaj, you said that anyone can connect to Krishna at any time. I just wanted to find out a bit more about how this works, because sometimes I feel I make so much effort to try and connect and it doesn't work. And other times I make minimal effort and it's just like a nice connection experience. So is there something around, like we're knocking on the door, but we're waiting for someone to answer or open the door or the window? Or is it us that's connecting, or is it Krishna that's connecting with us, following our endeavor?
Krishna is always available, and we have to make the effort to connect. But simply by remembering him, although we may not feel what we say, his personal presence, still by remembering him, still you're connected, at least to some degree. When you intensify that remembrance, then the connection becomes more and more apparent. But just at any moment, you can remember the Lord. And his presence is there within that remembrance. Whether you're aware of it or not is secondary, but he's there. He's there in his name. He's there in his beautiful form. He's there in the presence of other devotees who are also, practicing devotional service. But when we intensify the process of remembrance, that means becoming continuous, then you feel that presence in a very deeper way, more direct way. And the characteristics of that is we're not disturbed by the happiness and the distress of this world. That's one of the characteristics that indicates our connection with Krishna in a deeper way. Happiness comes, okay. Distress comes, okay. It'll come just like it comes, it goes. The winter seasons come, it goes. The summer is here now. After some time, it'll go. So this world is a world of coming and going. Everything is just coming and going. Relationships come and go, people come and go. Everything comes and goes. Our body comes and then it'll go. It's just, this world is just, some of these comings are fleeting moments, and other times they're, lasting a little bit longer. But Krishna doesn't come and go. As much as you want him to stay, he stays. It's up to you. Even if you want things to stay in this world, they can't. They don't stay. They go. You have a nice experience, you try to hold on to that experience, but you can't. All you can do is hold on to the memory of the experience. That's the best you can do. And even that fades with time. But Krishna, when you start focusing on him and you continue in that, then his presence becomes more and more apparent, more and more felt.
Okay. Thank you, Maurice. So it sounds like it's like every time that you're remembering him, it's like you're watering the plant, and then the plant gets lots of nourishment and water and sun, and eventually the more and more you grow, the more and more it grows into a beautiful flower. But if you stop remembering him, then it can wither away. But you can always come back. It doesn't die completely.
No, it's always there.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Maharaj.
It's not like, it's all based on consciousness, because Krishna is always with you anyway. Whether you remember him or not, he's with you. But the experience of connecting with him is the experience of being with him. And at the same time, it cuts your connection with the material energy. Krishna is the closest thing to you. He's situated in your heart. Prabhupada had Jadharani and Muralidhar, both very expert devotional painters in our movement, draw a picture of the super sun. That's famous painting. You'll see it. It's a combination of yellow and red background and this picture of a four-armed form. The super soul is 4 arms. And Prabhupada said he's 9 inches tall. So he also has a measurement.
Wow. 9 inches. Wow.
That's what Krishna Prabhupada said. I don't know. I've never seen him. So I'm just explaining what the great acharyas tell us.
I mean, thank you, Maharaj. I mean, it's like remembering more Krishna more than we realize it. 'Cause like when I'm reading Bhagavad Gita, I don't think that I'm connecting with Krishna, but I'm a bit absorbed in reading. But based on what you're saying, you're actually connecting with Krishna at the same time.
Yeah, the words of Krishna are also non-different in Krishna. The words of the spiritual master are the words of Krishna also. We have a, wealth of opportunities to remember Krishna. The non-devotees, they remember God when things go wrong because they want him to solve their problems and put everything back. Sometimes they have a last name for God, which we won't mention. When things really go wrong, they blame him. They think God is there to make sure their material life goes along with the way they want. And when it doesn't, they say, "Where's God?"
Mm.
But Krishna is not like that. He says, "I'm not the cause of anyone's happiness and distress. The three modes of material nature are." So remember Krishna. Try, practice. If you practice, you become good at it.
I'm trying to, Maharaj. Thank you very much.
Haribo.
That was a very nice and in-depth question, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Maharaj, as you were giving the answer to Krishna Kaviraj Prabhu, I was thinking of Parikshit's comment, because every now and then, whenever his body gives him problems, he would always tell me, there's one instruction that I did not listen to of Candramauli Swami. And I said, what is it? He says, Maharaj told me many years ago, don't get old. I said, too late. You already are old. He still remembers that instruction, Maharaj.
I was speaking from realization.
Yes, Maharaj, he's going through that. I hear it almost at least once or twice a week. I hear that from him.
But the soul is navayoganam. That's the soul is
Yes.
eternally useful.
Yes.
Krishna is also navayoganam. You see Krishna, you never see Krishna with, collecting his old age pension. He's a very useful, beautiful boy. It's pretty. He doesn't get any older than 15 years, 10 months, almost 16. Radharani doesn't get any older than 14 years and 8 months. So, the spiritual world, everyone is eternally youthful. The old people in the spiritual world are just their eternal bodies, which they play the role of being Krishna's mother or father or something. But they're also eternally useful.
Thank you, Marge. It's very nice. Thank you. Sridevi, it's all yours.
Thank you, Anastasia. Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. What a riveting class today. Every word was just so powerful, Guru Maharaj. I really thank you for reminding us again and again about the real goal of life. We know that the goal of life is to remember Krishna, go back to Krishna. We hear that over and over again. My question, and I must confess that I often get puzzled by this when I come across it. For example, in 2:111, it is said, devotees neither desire to enjoy material world nor do they desire to get out of it. But we are actively trying to get out of this material world. We don't want to be tangled up here. We don't want to come back again and again. So when the scriptures talk like this, I'm wondering, what does that mean? We do want to get out of this material world. We do want to go back to Krishna. Why
But
is it saying like that?
because it gives you the formula in the next statement, which is you left out the third part. Devotees don't want to renounce, they don't want to enjoy, they don't want to get out of the material world, they simply want to serve Krishna. And therefore, that is the formula for getting out of the material world. Serving Krishna. But their focus is on giving Krishna pleasure and engaging in his service and not thinking about how to escape the material world. But the results are also in line with getting out of the material world. But it's not the focus. It's just like, do you go to work simply to get a vacation? You get, I mean, everyone goes to work, they have a job, and then they have a couple weeks or maybe even more vacation time during the summer or sometime during. Or do you go to work so you can get a vacation? No. That comes as part of going to work. Right? So do we try to get out of the material world? No, but we serve Krishna, and we'll do, and that brings us out of the material world. That's a byproduct. It's not the focus. It comes automatically with devotion to the Lord. Careful with that thing. It fits. You put it on properly, it fits. Yeah.
So Maharaj, piggybacking on Sridevi's question, so there are people that they just want to serve, but at the same time, they don't want to get out.
What is that verse? Lord Chaitanya has given us that formula. Can you quote the verse?
नन्दनं न जनं न सुन्दरीं कवितां वा जगदीश कामये मम जन्मनि जन्मनीश्वरे भवतात् भक्तिरहेतुकी त्वयि.
Janmani Janmani Ishvare Bhavatad Bhaktir Haituki. I'm your servant life after life. If you want to bring me back to this material world, just bring me back in some capacity of service to you. That's all. So serving the Lord is so wonderful that no one cares about anything else. All they want to do is serve the Lord. It's so satisfying and so joyful.
So that means going back to Godhead is a state of consciousness where we are completely and totally absorbed in pure devotional service and completely situated at the lotus feet of the Lord, which can happen even here in this material body and material world.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You can be back to Godhead simply by engaging in devotional service when it becomes full. Then you're no longer part of this material world, and you see the material world simply as Krishna's energy. That's all. Prahlad Maharaj says, I see the world as being happy. How many people see the world as being happy? But because he's so fixed on Krishna, everything about his life is happiness. So he's seeing the world also as being a place of happiness because he's happy, simply absorbed in serving the Lord. That's the key. Bhakti is the key, not the goal. The goal of bhakti is ultimately there, but the key is just like if you serve the Lord, then you can get different levels of service. Just like in this material world, you can serve the government by being a government agent somewhere in some institution. And then you can get more and more closer to the government by being a minister, cabinet, a senator, like that, a secretary, a vice president. In other words, the intimacy of the service is also on different levels. So when we serve the Lord, we're actually moving closer to become part of his eternal entourage, his eternal associates. We might start off in a lesser position, but still, that position, when we continue it, the neophyte will become the pure devotee after a while.
Marge, so is it wrong to have the consciousness that we are enjoying serving the Lord and we also want to get out and go back? Is that the right consciousness to have, Marge, or no?
And that's fine, and that's acceptable. But a devotee, when they're serving, they're not thinking about going back to Godhead. All they're thinking is about how to increase and make their service even more and more devotional, more and more frequent. In other words, they're focused on the service and the object of the service, Krishna, and not so much about the goal of the service. Nadanam najanam nasundarim kavitamba jagadish. Janmani, Janmani, birth after birth. If you
Very
can't,
powerful point, Marge. Thank you so much for clarifying that. I'm sure
if
Sridevi
you
and I got our answers, questions answers. Very, very powerful point.
if you want to go back home, back to Godhead, still you have to purify yourself by devotional service. So if you make that your goal, I want to go back to home, back to Godhead, that is also an acceptable mood of devotion. I want to get out of this material world, but how do you get out? The same way everybody else wants to serve the Lord. Just become engaged in his service with love. Priti Purvakam, not just not with official, but with love. Serve with love. That is the real service. Bhakti means love. That's the translation, love and devotion.
Thank you, Marge. Very, very powerful point. Thank you. Sonal Mataji, it's all yours. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my obeisances. My obeisances to all the devotees. Just a further reflection on what you were saying. So at the time of death, if we haven't come to the level of becoming fully absorbed in the memory of Krishna, and if the consciousness is somewhat halfway, then is it correct to understand that we'll have to take another birth and start from the level where we left at in this life?
If you've been giving your life to devotional service, then at the time of death, even if you fall short, Krishna will help you. But if you don't give your life to devotional service, and then at the time of death, you won't get that same mercy. So there are devotees who towards the very end of their life, all of a sudden they become fully Krishna conscious because they've been trying, but still falling short. But now the time of death has been the accelerator process.
Thank you, Maharaj.
That's special mercy, but it's available. If you devote your life to Krishna consciousness, then at the time of death, just like there was one statement by one book distributor, she said that Srila Prabhupada, we're out there distributing your books. And what happens if we die and distribute your books? We're thinking about distributing your books, but we die. Prabhupada said, if you're doing that, then Lord Chaitanya will force himself into your consciousness. He will make sure you get back to Godhead. The Lord's very merciful. He sees what is your desire. If your desire is to be still materially happy and Krishna conscious, then that consciousness will propel you to another birth, maybe a higher birth, but not the goal.
So Maharaj, it's more likely that we will receive the mercy at the time of death, despite whatever distresses we have at the time of death, if we are practiced.
Yeah, if you practice throughout your life, yeah, that mercy will be there.
Okay, so there's insurance. There's no need to worry then.
And there's also special cases where Krishna shows special mercy to a soul, but that's up to him. Even though they may not be qualified, he can do that. If someone has done some outstanding service and the spiritual master is so pleased with that, then that outstanding service may also be something that brings them to perfection at the time of death.
Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Thank you for asking that question and clarifying it even for the rest of us, Sonal. Thank you so much. Krishna Kaviraj Prabhu, you're on.
Guru Maharaj, you said that we must serve with love. And I'm thinking, how do I do that if I don't have much love?
Well, first deserve and then desire. You don't have much love, then pray, my dear love, help me to love you more. You are very lovable, but I don't have any love. So help me inspire that love within my heart. It's there, it's in your heart. You just got to bring it out. That's all. My dear Lord, I'm still looking towards a material life for some happiness. Please destroy this tendency in me and give me attraction to your lotus feet. My dear Lord, I'm wasting so much time with activities that have no benefit. Please correct me and help me to get free from all of this. My dear
Prayer.
Lord, I still think my material success is actually success in life. But you are the real, you are the real goal. You are the real success. You are what they call the grand prize. Just hear about the love of his eternal associates for him. That will inspire your own love towards him. Radharani's love for Krishna, the gopis' love for Krishna, the cowherd boys' love for Krishna, Yasoda, and all of these pastimes of how much they love Krishna and the intensification of how that love is used to serve Krishna. We get an indication from them how they're actually loving Krishna. Mother Yasoda, she's a mother. She also has to correct him, but her correction is also her love for him because she's in the role of his mother. The cowherd boys, they love Krishna, but they show their love by playing with Krishna and jumping on his back and wrestling with him and eating and sharing their lunch together. You get an indication of how they love Krishna. But love divided is not love.
March, what did you, the last sentence, the love undivided, I missed that last sentence.
If you divide your love between Krishna and something else, that's not love. Of course, devotees, when they love Krishna, they love all living entities. So their love is shown by how much they try to help other living entities become Krishna conscious. Just like, what does it say in the Christian scriptures? The 10 Commandments. the first commandment is to love God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your might. And the second commandment is to love your neighbor as yourself. So what is it about yourself that you really love? Well, you love yourself because you want to give yourself the best thing in life. And what is the best thing in life? So you understand your relationship with God. So loving others means to give that same desire to others. That's showing love for others. I understand the happiness in life is my relationship with Krishna. So I want to make you happy by helping you develop your relationship with Krishna. We call it teaching, we call it preaching, like that. Reaching out. Everything is centered around Krishna. When you see the material energy, you see the objects that make up the material energy, but you should behind it, you understand it all belongs to Krishna because he's the source of it. Prabhupada was talking about that today. I was listening. He was saying, when somebody creates something, that means it belongs to them and it's meant for their enjoyment. They may share it with others, but still, it's meant ultimately for their own enjoyment. So this material world is Krishna's creation. It's meant for his enjoyment. Use the objects, the situations in this world to serve Krishna.
Very nice. Hope that
Thanks,
helped, Krishna
Raj.
Kaviraj.
Very helpful. Yes, really helpful. Thank you.
Thank you for asking the nice question. Sridevi, it's all yours, Mataji. Sridevi, you're on mute. Okay, there you are.
I said, do you want to let Amrita Nam go first since I asked a couple?
Yes, yes. Go ahead, Amritanam.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances of glories to Srila Prabhupada. So thank you for this wonderful. So,
Amritanam, you're going in and out.
am I audible
Yes,
now?
now you are. Now you are. Go ahead.
Okay. So my question is, when I came into Krishna consciousness, it was a troublesome time. And I remember that the intensity at that time was like from my deepest core ever. So when I think it now, I don't feel that intensity, even though I want to. I look back and I feel that, oh, I get that intensity again. I get that intensity again because when I chant, I feel like, oh, I want that intensity back. But because that circumstances were not there, I'm not able to get that intensity.
Now, you
So
want me to help you? I can make your intensity.
I was hoping to ask.
You asked too soon.
Just ask and you can get your intensity back.
I think I told my Gornitai, okay, let's give one more shot, Gornitai. If I get that intensity back, let's give one more shot.
Generally, that's the case. We become somewhat serious in our practice of Krishna consciousness when things really go reverse in our material life or even in the spiritual life. But do we need that all the time in order to stay fixed?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking, Ramaj. Why do we need that material platform to, be topsy-turvy?
Just remember, death is always there. It can come at any time. It doesn't give notice either sometimes. So if you're not aware that, at any time your existence in this material world can be cut off, that helps you become more intense. It's a fact too. I'm hearing regularly every day, not every day, but mostly quite often, another devotee has just left the world. People are leaving the world every moment. People are, how many people are alive today that won't be alive tomorrow? Many. Every day. So that's the reality. So if that doesn't make you intense, then
Well,
read.
then, sorry.
You can read Bhakti Tirtha Swami's Beggar 4 called Die Before Dying. To prepare yourself to die means to die to those things that are keeping you from dying. Anasuya can talk about that, right?
Marge, I'm not qualified at all to even say a sentence or a word about that, Marge. Every time I actually think of that, of death or dying, I always remember the whole episode when Marge, when Bhaktivedanta Swami was struggling with his health and dying, and watching him go down and with so much enthusiasm. Marge, I'm sure you even remember when he was dying, the last 2-3 months, even when he would come for class for Sunday program, he would spend like an hour chanting and crying than speaking. And he was always calling the name of the Lord and had tears in his eyes, and temple room was full. And I think for me, Marge, just watching him, and it was, I think, pure mercy of his to allow us to watch the dying process.
He did that
And
purposely. He could have left there and went to the holy places, but he chose to stay with the devotees to teach people how to die.
yes, absolutely, Marge. And I literally watched it day after day after day, up until his last breath. I remember so clearly. Yesterday I was telling someone, I forgot who, I remember seeing his last breath, and it never came back. And it was definitely a real life to watch that. And he showed us how to do it rightly.
Yeah. Focused.
He did.
And
Marge, do you remember the past time, Marge, when he told Radhanath Swami they were in the room?
Yeah, I just said it today.
Yeah, the one with the chariot?
No, not all right. Tell that one. I don't remember that one.
That there was a pastime where he said that, my chariot is here in my room waiting to take me, but there's an extra space. So he told Radhanath Swami, do you want to come with me? He said it's a big chariot, it can take more than one person. You remember that, Sri Devi? That pastime? It was really
Oh, this is the first time I'm hearing.
oh
But
yeah.
if I'd been around, I would say me.
And then I don't know what Maharaj said, and then Dhruva walked into the room, and then Maharaj asked Dhruva, do you want to come in? There's an extra space, and Dhruva was like, But
I got some cows to take care of. I can't.
yes. Yes, yes, yeah, that was a wonderful pastime, but yeah, quite a bit amazing, really, real life situation. Yes.
Just so amazing to even hear this, you know.
Yeah.
Just like Tukaram, when the celestial plane came, the whole village was there. And he made the same offer. And no one got onto that plane. He even asked his wife, "Come with me." And she said no.
Who's that?
Tukaram.
Tukaram.
Yeah. A celestial plane came down for him. And nobody was willing to go with him.
Yeah. If we were put in the same place, we probably wouldn't go either.
We'll be thinking about all our commitments and obligations and family and all the connections. Yeah. It was really powerful.
Which we have to leave anyway. And here's someone taking you to the spiritual world. How can you say? I mean, I would jump on and say, "Guru Maharaj, take me, I'm coming."
Now you're a rare soul.
It was definitely an experience of I think Margie actually after witnessing that with Bhaktivedanta Swami, years later I was able to really very nicely deal with my mother's dying because she was so scared. She was so scared. But I think just watching the real life of my spiritual master was definitely a very strong witness of what it means to die, how to prepare their surroundings, the atmosphere, the consciousness, the alertness, I mean, this is like, yeah. Because I remember March, I think 3 days before he left, the hospice nurse, I think it was either the hospice nurse or Mother Sangeeta that said that he had 3 days. So all of us were like, okay, 3 days. But within 24 hours, it changed. It changed and it said 6 hours. Do you remember that, Marge?
Well, I was in Cleveland.
Ah.
It was Sunday. And I came for the Sunday program there. I thought I had time.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to go the next day with Avaduta and who was it?
Agnihotra?
Yeah, we were all supposed to go together. She had to go to the doctor's that morning, so we were delayed. And then the news came, and that he didn't have more than a few hours left. So we had to drive from Cleveland to Gitanagari. We jumped into the car and we were going as fast as we could.
Yes, it literally changed within 24 hours. First day was 72, next day they said no, 6 hours. I was like, oh Krishna. It literally changed.
And I didn't make it. I didn't make it in time. I got there an hour after he left.
Ah.
I was cursing myself.
Marge, what was really nice is I still have the picture in my mind with you being one of the carriers of his body. Remember that through the woods?
It was at night.
Yes.
It was late night, and we took the palanquin from his house, took the shortcut to the temple going through the woods rather than taking the normal route.
Yeah.
There was a lot of us holding the palanquin.
Yes.
And I actually was holding the palanquin. I wasn't just putting my hands up. I was holding that weight.
Mm-hmm.
It was just nectar.
I remember it was you, Parikshit, Garuda, and I think Madhavacharya.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I jumped in there because I felt, I wanted to be there when he left, but I wasn't able to. He left what, 3:35 in the afternoon?
Yes,
Right?
Maharaj. Yes, 3:35.
Hmm.
Witnessed the last breath. I just kept watching, and each one of us thought, is there going to be another one? Is there going to, and then the last one, and that I will never forget that sight. It's so clear in my mind.
Then we had that program that lasted to about 3 or 4 in the morning. We stayed till
Yes, and none of us slept.
so many people came. So many people came from everywhere. Garanga and Govinda from Chaupati were there, Radhanath Swami, Dhanadhar Swami. There's so many people. Pyari Mo,
Bakeshwar Pandit.
yeah, Bakeshwar Pandit. So many people came. It's like all of a sudden it was a sangha. The temple room was packed.
Packed. Really packed.
Yeah.
Yes, Teja Prabhu, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept humble obeisances. Hare Krishna to all Vaishnavas. Maharaj, I have a question. Like you are explaining that we should be, we are all wandering or maybe traveling and we want to end this travel. I mean, I kind of a doubt there. I just want to clarify something. It may be very naive, but I just want to clarify. Sometimes when I travel, I like going to visiting places, exploring nature, or maybe exploring cities or whatever. I get pleasure or maybe feel happiness in doing that. Maybe occasionally, not very regular or on a daily to daily basis. And I just want to know like your perspective on this. Is it the right thing, or should we not have any expectation of that? How to understand this?
The expectation on what? Happiness that comes by way of travel?
Yes, Maharaj. Yes.
Well, there are people who travel and like it. There's people who travel and just tolerate it, and there's people who travel and they hate it. So it's an individual thing. Sannyasis have to travel, and that's their service. They go from place to place, so they don't get attached to any one place. That's the reasons why they travel. But we want to travel back to Godhead. That's the real journey. You can circumambulate this world so many times, but as that song, wherever you go, the same thing is happening: eating, sleeping, mating, and defending in different forms, but it's all happening the same way. Material world, the same thing happens over and over again. People do it one way or another way. There's nothing new in this material world. It's all centered around eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. So
Hope that helped, Teja Prabhu.
if you want happiness, go to the place where there is no cessation, where everything is eternal.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you.
Okay, I think we should end now because
Yes, Maharaj. I was going to ask you, Maharaj, would you like to chant around, or do you have commitments that you have to go to?
there's a couple people here that are waiting for me.
Oh, geez. Okay, Maharaj. Then we will definitely end the class. And we really thank all of you for joining us, and thank you for such a wonderful questions and interaction and exchanges. Really, really, really nice. Vanchakraptubhyascha kripasindhavevacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. His Holiness Candramauli Swami ki jai.
Jai.
Hari Hari Bol.
Thank you very much,
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna, devotees. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anasuya. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
to all
Hari
the
Bol.
devotees. Hari
Hari
Bol.
Krishna.